This is achieveradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/achieveradio.
What a beautiful day to be alive. My debt is paid and more money arrives. The fridge is full and there's plenty of ice for a fireside chat with anyone I like. What a beautiful day, good to be here, when almost everyone has disappeared. When almost everyone is waiting in line, it's good to meet you in this world of mine.
Welcome everybody to Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on achieveradio.com. It's Monday evening, and we're going to have another rockin', rollin', rollicking show for you, and we're so pleased that you're here to hang out with us. We have Dr. Carolyn Dean, one of the most amazing people in the whole wide world here. And I just want to tell you something about her that you may not know, but I do know, and I'm just going to take the liberty to share it right now. And that is, not only is she an amazing doctor, which she's been doing for the last 35, 40 years, she's a naturopath, so she knows so many things about natural medicine, combining with allopathic medicine, distilling that down into a beautiful understanding. She's incredible with the anatomy of the body. She understands the anatomy of the environment. She understands epigenetics. She understands that we are more than we appear to be. She understands how the environment even informs our body's reactions. She understands about formulating products and how to do those wonderful things, how to make products that are going to make people feel better. Dietary supplements, of course, certainly not drugs, but dietary supplements that are going to go right in at the cellular level. She knows how to actually make the focal point of her medicine the cell. If you can get the cell right, you can get the whole body right. How to be balanced in that approach and how to work with people to get them into their optimum results. But now, all those things are impressive, but you know what else she can do? She can grow orchids, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm telling you what, that's a difficult thing to do. That's how well-rounded and amazing she is. And you know what? She is absolutely stunningly beautiful. I saw a picture of her this weekend in Hawaii, and she absolutely looks amazing. And I had to take a double and a triple take at it because I kind of somewhat may know what her age is, and she doesn't even look anywhere near her age. So here's this amazing woman with the gift of life that she's spreading her joy and her beauty everywhere she goes, to people that she touches, to plants that she touches, to everything that she touches, and it all is just full of life and vibrant and alive because of her will and the gesture of the compassion of her heart. We're so happy to have her here today, and so happy to have everybody. Nancy in Portland, Brenda, we've got Marcia here from California, we've got people calling from all over the world, and we're so happy that you're here with us this evening. So without further ado, I'm going to bring her on the line, and ladies and gentlemen, let me just tell you, she's not here to give medical advice, people. Oh, no, she would never do that. But she is here to tell you what she would do if she were faced with the circumstances that you're faced with and how she would use natural medicine to her benefit. Welcome, everybody, this evening, Dr. Carolyn Dean. Are you there? Hello? Hello? Carolyn. Okay. I think everybody can hear me, and I know for a fact I'm not muted, and I know that Carolyn's here, but for some reason I cannot hear her. So we'll just talk, and I'm going to tell you already Nancy is on the chat line reporting in with her weather report, and, of course, she's up in Portland, Oregon, and it's been a challenging season for weather up there. So she says, another beautiful fall, dry day in the Northwest, loving it. Rain is supposed to come on Thursday. Hate to see the sun end. Good gardening weather and taking walks, etc. Hard to be inside at 4 o'clock p.m. on a nice day to listen in. Yes, could listen later, but the live show always calls me, it seems. So that's very sweet, and we're glad you're here and taking a break, even though, it is hard to come in from nature sometimes. Also, Brenda's here from Maine, and Susan from Spartanburg. Hello, love. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And so, all right, let's see. There she is. There's the beauty. Are you here? Carolyn. Okay, I know she's here because I can absolutely see her cell phone, but for some reason she's not coming through. Bill, is there something going on that we need to know about? That why Carolyn is not showing up on any of these phone lines? And everybody can hear me
now.
I can hear you now. There you are.
Okay, good. I'm negotiating my cell phone. I never use the darn thing. Our phone system is having some problem. I guess all the one complaint about Bob entering into too much of the discussion last week got through to Ion, and he knocked out our telephone so that only I'm able to talk on my cell phone, and Bob can't interrupt this week. I'm pretty sure that's what's happening.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Yeah, well, Bob's a gift.
He's a gift. He's a 50-year-old gift for me. So,
there you go.
I'm not going to divorce him because he tends to speak his mind. That's what I have to say.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Anyway, we're good, but I interrupted you. You were going into something. So if you want to continue with that, go ahead, and then we'll get back to the show.
I was just reading the Chitty Chatty line and talking to Susan in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and Frank's here, and Brenda's here, and Nancy's here, and I know there's all kinds of people here, and the phone lines are all lit up. So we're ready for you, Dr. Dean. We're ready to hear your wisdom.
Okie doke. Then what shall we do? Let's just take the calls right away and scare the Jesus out of people who think they have to wait for a whole hour to talk on the phone. Let's do that. And, we'll go back to the blogs and whatnot because we have some very interesting things to talk about. But since we're shaking it up today, let's just go right to the phones.
Okay, excellent. I'll tell everybody how to call in. If you're not already on the phone, you can call 602-666-6027. Again, that's 602-666-6027. You should be able to see the number at Achieve Radio if you're looking at the website, but if not, you've got the number now. And when you call in, all you have to do is hit *5 on your keypad. *5 will raise your hand here in the studio and let me know that you have a question or comment, and then I will unmute your phone in the order that the calls come in, and I will put you on the phone with Dr. Dean. So the first place we're going to go is to area code 620, Liberal, Kansas, and that's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to say area code 620, Liberal, Kansas, and then you're going to recognize that, and I'm going to take your phone off mute, and then I'll say, go ahead, if you could give us your name, and then state your question or comment, and then there you go.
Peggy?
Is it Peggy?
Yes.
Okay, Peggy, go ahead. I'm on a cell phone. I'm not used to it, so I'm just manipulating my volume here. So what's your question,
okay.
Peggy?
I've been on the whole program for about a month, and I get candida, and then I started the whole approach for the candida die-off. And, I get like a vaginal burning, and I don't know whether to keep going with it or to end up quitting.
Well, what's interesting about the burning symptoms, Peggy, is that sometimes that's an indication that people have like an allergy to the candida toxins. And it's not something that's talked about very much. I do mention it in the yeast book I wrote. What is it? Reset the Yeast Connection.
Yeah, I was going to say I had one of your employees or whatever when I called or emailed. She emailed me that book, so I've been reading that. But even when I went to my gynecologist, they tested and they said I didn't have yeast infection or bacteria, but I still burn like crazy, like there is a yeast infection, but there's not.
Well, you know what that's like. I know in my day they used to test for yeast, but not use the right laboratory medium. I started doing my own testing. And for every one that they didn't find, we would find that people had yeast because we did it right. So, you got to keep listening to what your own body is telling you. There's something wrong. And if it is a reaction in an allergic way, they're not testing for that. They wouldn't even think to test for yeast allergy. And it's probably buried in the book somewhere, Peggy, but it's basically to go to a online site like vitacost.com and look up candida allergy drops. My internet isn't working right now, so I can't give you the name, but I'll look it up, yeast allergy drops, in my notes. But that's the way I would look at this. Yeah, yeast allergy homeopathic on VitaCost. Nelson's has a candida and yeast product, BioAllers, BioAllers, has a mold and yeast. So just look it up. You might have to experiment with a couple different ones, but what it indicates
so it's just
is
like a drop you would take. Yeah.
I think so. I think one might be pellets and one might be drops, both oral. I'm not talking about using any vaginal product because it's like you're killing the yeast in your intestines, and so much is dying off that all the yeast toxins are just trying to get out of your body, skin, urine, bowels, and vaginal tissues, and it's very irritating. And, sometimes sitting in a baking soda, Zitz baths will help the burning. Even sometimes just washing with a alkaline soap and hot water will help. But don't give up, because what the symptoms indicate is something's going on, and you're onto something, and you don't want to let it go. All right?
Okay. Yeah, because I know I have it real bad, and I've even changed my diet, and then I've went on that whole approach, that first phase or whatever that they have you taken, and then your minerals and your shake and stuff.
And the
probiotics, well, I will order them.
The probiotics are good too. The whole approach, it tends to go, we were going to adopt the whole approach, but then it just got so complicated because people are complicated. And that's why I wrote the the Yeast Connection book, because I wanted to uncomplicate things. And that's where I said, look, if your immune system is supported with the minerals and the total body reset, completement formulas, that's stage one. And then you can do the diet.
So should I not try the whole approach, the Candida style? Should I just stick with the minerals because I ordered the prescriptive.
Prescriptive, No, let me finish, Peggy, because it is a little bit complicated, but I am trying to simplify it. Continue with the whole approach. Finish up what you've got. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just that if it doesn't work, they say, well, then do all this other stuff. If that doesn't work, do more stuff. What I'm saying is what they're missing is the minerals and the detox and what the completement formulas do for you, because we have so many people that say, just with using the products, what I'm talking about, Remag, Remite, Realign, Restructure, and the RNA drops most people also take, just with doing those, people start saying, oh my gosh, I'm starting to feel like I'm detoxing my yeast, my tongue is coated, I'm feeling itchy, I'm getting rashes, and then we say, okay, good. Yeast is coming out, your body is strong enough now to deal with the yeast and to start detoxifying the yeast. Then, you do the psyllium seed bentonite and rotate some of the natural herbal antifungals, and you eat your garlic and you take your prescriptive cyst. So all I've done, instead of using expensive antifungals. I'm just telling people to take some of these antifungal herbs, and it's all in the book. So does that, make some sense to you, what I'm saying here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because like I said, I started, and I've been using your products for about a month, and then I was going to, because I know I have candida, so I was going to try that. And as soon as I started doing the whole approach, that was like, I'm achy, I have a headache, and then I have this burning, and so I know it's from doing that next step of the whole approach.
Right. So you get the diet, so you know that you're getting after your yeast, and that can be the difficult part, because then you feel so worse. Then it's like, what's the point? I know. But what it
makes me want to quit. It's like, God, I can't handle it.
Yeah. I know, but what I tell people is just cut back. If you're doing it twice a day, do it once a day. Drink your sea salted water. Maybe do another extra realign. With the diet, use more restructure, but try to make it so you get a balance between, feeling, better on the minerals and everything as you do, and feeling worse on the detox, because, you got to get to this stuff. You can't, keep growing the yeast.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I had, before I found your products, I had tried Plexus, and it was supposed to help your gut, because I've always fought constipation really bad. And whenever I take they had a product that had magnesium in it. And when I take it, I swore I was allergic to the magnesium. That's how I found your products. I got online and went, can I be allergic to magnesium? And then that was when I found yours. So then I ordered it, and I've been on it. Like I did all the gradual. And so I'm up to the 2.5 tablespoons of magnesium, and 1.5 of the Remite.
Right.
The minerals. I'm not sure if I'm saying those right. But just like I said, as soon as I added the next step, I'm like, oh God, this is tough now. Yeah. So.
Okay, well, you're connected with us now. Our customer service. You can phone in. So, just get the Candida allergy package.
Okay.
Cut back on how much yeast you're killing, so that you can get the balance there and feel okay, and keep in touch with us. Okay, Peggy?
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. Good call. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, everybody. Excellent way to warm up the show, Carolyn. Good call. 602 66. We are in a comedy of errors today, for sure. Okay, let's try that again. 602-666-6027 is the number to call to talk with Dr. Dean tonight. And if you are on the phone, you've got to hit *5 on your keypad to raise your hand and let me know you have a question or a comment. Otherwise, Carolyn, we can proceed with the blogs. We don't have any callers right this second.
Oh, perfect. Okay, what I was going to do now, Jenny and I never prepare for this. We just come in with our eyes closed and our arms wide open, and we just take it as it comes. So I wanted to talk about Dr. Northrup's radio show that I did on Wednesday, October 25th. Dr. Christine Northrup, who I'm sure everybody knows, she's such a wonderful, generous lady. She's been using our products, and she tells her audience about our products, and she wanted to interview me about the new edition of Magnesium Miracle and talk about the products. I mean, it was awesome. And she has a call-in show, too. Ginny, apparently we have a copy of the show that Ginny can tell you where to find that. And throughout the show, a lot of questions, such as we get on our radio show. Question about calcium, and question about heart surgery. Someone from New York called in and said she had heart surgery for mitral valve prolapse, and then she started taking Remac after the surgery, and her ocular or eyeball migraines went away, and her sleep got better. She began dreaming and no leg cramps, overall feeling better. And she said she entered into taking the Remag with skepticism, but she couldn't believe how well she felt on it. And she took it under Dr. Northrup's advice. So it was just total, reinforcement of what we're doing and how we're trying to help people. And as I said, it was a great show, and I'm sure people will enjoy it. And I think that's all I'll say about it. I mean, you can listen to the show. Ginny, can you tell people how they can get to that show?
Yes, go ahead and email us at support, SUPPORT, at rnareset.com, and we'll go ahead and send you the link to it. You can listen to the archive, no problem.
Excellent.
And I'll see if I can post it here, Carolyn, on the chat line. But for people who are listening to the archive, just email me at support, and we'll get it to you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And then we have Ginny's blog that goes out every Monday morning to announce the show, and you can read it at drcarolyndeanlive.com, which is our radio show archive website and our blog website. And this is a great post. It's about the heart disease and magnesium. And we're not saying magnesium is treating heart disease. We are saying that magnesium deficiency can cause people to have symptoms that appear like heart disease, which are misdiagnosed, mistreated with drugs. And when people who have magnesium deficiency heart symptoms take Remag, they improve. So we're not treating disease, we're treating magnesium deficiency, as we should, as all doctors should, as every doctor should have learned in medical school. So Ginny says people who have been newly diagnosed with heart challenges are told to lay off the cholesterol-laden sandwiches, steer clear of full-fat dairy items loaded with saturated fat. But new research shows this advice may be misguided. A decade-long study that reviewed cardiovascular disease research extending over more than 70 years found that low magnesium levels contributed more to heart disease than did cholesterol or saturated fat. In fact, for many years, research has shown that magnesium deficiency is strongly related to all aspects of heart disease, including arrhythmias, irregular heartbeats, angina, ischemic heart disease, congestive heart failure, coronary heart disease, and the risk factors for heart disease such as hypertension and high cholesterol. Andrea Rosanoff, she's a PhD friend of mine. She lives on Big Island here in Hawaii. She's one of magnesium's most aggressive researchers. She shares her findings from much of her research and brings much awareness about magnesium deficiency to the table. Her work shows that common risk factors for cardiovascular disease, such as high LDL cholesterol, low HDL cholesterol, high blood pressure, and metabolic syndrome, are all associated with low nutritional magnesium status or low magnesium dietary intake. Also, she finds the many peer-reviewed studies showing that correcting or preventing nutritional magnesium deficit can and will correct or prevent cardiovascular disease events, including death. Ginny includes review articles on magnesium. You can click to. This is the type of thing you can print these up and put them on your doctor's table so that they begin looking at this. There are no magnesium drug reps. There's no one going to go into a doctor's office and say, this is what you should be giving people. So it's the patients of these doctors that do have to educate them. So then Ginny offers my published comprehensive list of the 65 conditions that may be indicators of magnesium deficiency in the new edition of Magnesium Miracle. So you can just click on that part of the blog, and the blog is at drcarolyndeanlive.com. One interesting caveat, the blog continues, very few allopathic doctors consider looking at magnesium as a treatment for heart disease. Dr. Dean believes that when you have one common denominator like magnesium, it's necessary to pursue healthy dietary supplementation before using strong drugs with side effects. To check your own magnesium levels, request a magnesium RBC test from your family doctor, or you can go to online to requestatest.com. However, only 1% of the total body magnesium is in the blood. That means serum magnesium is not an accurate measure of magnesium in the whole body. That's why we look at magnesium RBC test. But when you get your results, you want to be up at the top level. You don't want to be at the bottom level, because with 80% of the population being deficient in magnesium, the range is not a healthy range of magnesium. The range you get is of the sick population, so you want to be at the 80th percentile. You want to be at the top of the class in your levels. Then, of course, dietary-wise, we just don't have the magnesium in our diet, and that's why I recommend supplementation. And why I recommend Remag is you can take enough of it, and it won't give you a laxative effect before you get a saturation effect, and you cure yourself of magnesium deficiency. So we're not talking about curing yourself with diseases. We're just saying treat your magnesium deficiency, and lo and behold, these misdiagnosed diseases will fall away. So I'll stop now and see if Ginny has anything to add there.
Excellent. No, that was very good. Thank you. That was awesome.
I just read your blog, Ginny, so yeah, it was a great blog. Okay, and the blogs I wrote this week, why most published research findings are false. I mean, this was incredible. And this was an old study, and I do talk about it in Magnesium Miracle, this study. Let me look it up. These blogs are at drcarolyndean.com. And what I say is I'm totally in love with this paper published in PLOS Medicine back in 2005, 12 years ago. And see, this was around the time when I was writing Death by Modern Medicine. My first edition was 2005. And this author wrote about the false findings in the majority of published research claims. He makes the incredible statement that it can be proven that most claimed research findings are false. And here's the summary of his paper, and you can get the whole paper online. It's wonderful having the internet now because you can read these papers yourself. So it boggles me. In the Death by Modern Medicine book, I put this information, why most published research findings are false. Actually, I don't think I put it in Magnesium Miracle now that I think about it. It was in Death by Modern Medicine. And, I have the summary of his paper, and then I continue in Death by Modern Medicine talking about Dr. Marcia Angel, who, what was she? She was the editor of, it might have been the New England Journal of Medicine. And she wrote a book in 2004, The Truth About the Drug Companies, How They Deceive Us and What to Do. A lot of people around that time, 2004, 2005, came out with real attacks on drug companies and medicine, and I don't know that much happened. Nobody really refuted my statement about up to 1 million people were dying annually of medical intervention. A lot more research was done, and every study that was done showed people dying right, left, and center of drug side effects, surgeries, misdiagnoses. So it's really startling what's happening. And actually what I did with with my latest blog, I'm talking about medical research again and drug companies and the unethical, unscientific prescribing of a half a dozen medications to people who end up in the emergency department with heart side effects or heart symptoms. They're given all these medications, and there's no scientific reasoning behind giving you 6 different medications. 6 different medications have never been studied together. And, I made a comment that this whole fentanyl scandal right now, where there's a Dr. Kapoor who, and I'm looking him up to see if my internet works now. He was arrested as the owner of the company that makes fentanyl. Fentanyl is the opioid that's killing people. 65,000 people a year are dying because of fentanyl toxicity. And what fentanyl is, it's a drug that is only to be used on dying cancer patients for their chronic and severe and intractable pain. Because it's so addictive, it's not supposed to be used on anyone else. But somehow Kapoor and his cronies got doctors prescribing fentanyl off-label and getting, obviously, hundreds of thousands of people addicted and killed because of this drug. So I make the very blatant comment that, is the same thing going to happen to these drug companies and doctors who are prescribing half a dozen drugs for heart disease with no scientific backup? So, yeah, I'm getting pretty blatant about my concerns. The comment that someone gave me after why most published research findings are false, someone said, "Awesome, Carolyn, Dr. Dean." This person, a woman, says, "I've been a student of my own research for years. It's hard to know the truth for us mere mortal laymen. Yet common sense, sixth sense, strong gut feelings, moral principles, and Mother Nature guide me. Your magnesium is astounding. I suffer chronic anxiety and learned it sucks up essential magnesium. Cramps used to keep me awake at night until I used your magnesium. Thank you." And another person commented about the research. The studies conducted by GlaxoSmithKline on the brand new shingles vaccine approved last week are questionable. Mainstream media is treating the new vaccine like it's liquid gold. And what they did is they tested this vaccine on very, very, very healthy people. And now they're using it on very sick people. All the things that you shouldn't do in science, they've done all the wrong things. And they got their FDA approval. It's like, why is the FDA charging these drug companies millions and millions of dollars to do their oversight, and all they do is rubber stamp these drugs and vaccines? It's so obvious, the complicity here. And I can only hope that as Trump has cut back the funding for the FDA and the NIH, that this behavior of attacking dietary supplement companies yet allowing the drugs to flow will be overturned. Another blog, I did magnesium deficiency and cystic fibrosis. This was asked of me by a mother whose child takes our products and is having such good results. that the mom wondered, what was the research behind this and if she could discuss it and present it to her groups and forums. Now, what's interesting about cystic fibrosis, it's a genetic disorder that disrupts the production of a protein called CFTR that creates the physical structure for chloride ion channels. These ion channels are necessary in the formation of sweat, digestive juices, and mucus. Without enough of this protein, these secretions are thickened, ineffective, or disruptive to the body. Cystic fibrosis sweat is so unique that it's used to diagnose the condition. So much sweat is lost that the skin tastes salty and becomes frosted with salt. Cystic fibrosis patients can lose abnormally large amounts of body salt when they sweat on hot days. Excessive sweating, of course, makes me realize that magnesium chloride is being lost along with sodium chloride and other important minerals, all of which make up body salt. Then I learned that CFTR protein needs ATP to work, and ATP requires a lot of magnesium. The proper symbol for ATP is actually ATP-MG. MG stands for magnesium. Phosphorylation is also important in the metabolism of this protein, CFTR. And guess what? Magnesium is an important modulator of oxidative phosphorylation. Then, I talk about the lungs and sinuses, usually filled with thick mucus, which provides the perfect environment for bacteria. And chronic infections lead to chronic use of antibiotics and the inevitable yeast overgrowth. So there we have the two things that I'm talking about in most chronic disease, magnesium and mineral deficiency and yeast overgrowth. And that marks the whole picture of cystic fibrosis. So look at this blog at drcarolyndean.com, see what you think of it. As I said, I began looking closely at cystic fibrosis after a mother begged me to provide more information on my formulas and cystic fibrosis to the public because her 8-year-old daughter was improving after taking them for a few months. The mother's words were, "If I could just have Dr. Dean speak about cystic fibrosis, I could feel like this specific disease isn't shunned. I'm certain there is another person out there with CF in shambles trying to help their child or children or themselves. I just need some light shining over CF for the rest of the world." I think at some point she tells me, it's a fairly long article, but her daughter, the symptoms that her daughter was suffering, she said the complement formulas, her daughter's bowel movements are more formed. Her lungs are clear with no more blocked mucus, no wheezing, no coughing or sniffing. She's gained 5 pounds in 2 months, which is very rare in CF. Her teeth are getting whiter and losing the brown lines deep under the surface. So we're not curing cystic fibrosis by any means. We're just treating the magnesium deficiency that seems to urge this condition along. I think I'll stop there, Ginny, and see if you've got anything from chat or from or phone calls.
Okay, great. Yeah, we have calls waiting, and we have a couple comments on the chat. Let me do the comments on the chat really quickly, Carolyn. One of them is that Peggy typed in, my naturopath says for me to get the RBC test plus her office fee would be $300. Yikes. What other options? No, right? Gosh, it's just incredible. What other options do I have in a small town with not a lot to offer? So, Carolyn?
Well, I don't know how small the town is, so you go online and find out where the nearest lab facility is to get a $49 RBC test. And, if you're visiting someone, you're going somewhere over the holidays, just drop in and get your blood tested. It's $49. And I don't know that everybody needs the test. People who are on a lot of medications and they want to prove to their doctor that they're low, they'll get testing. I've never had the test. I just know I'm low in magnesium, so I just take my Remag. So that's my answer.
Very good. Well, you used to be low. You're not as low as you are now. And now you're on a maintenance dose, just for people who are counting. Yeah.
I mean, in a way, I'm quite fortunate because my magnesium deficiency symptoms are heart palpitations and leg cramps mostly. And when, at this point, if I miss, probably 2 days of magnesium, I'd probably start getting some symptoms back. But when I was building up my dosing over a year and a half, if I missed one dose, I'd start to get a little thump in my heart. So I just went by my symptoms because the blood testing, unless you get ionized magnesium tests in a research lab, they are not that accurate, even the magnesium RBC. I think it's another aspect of brainwashing of medicine that they have to be in control of our testing and we have to be tested. And yet, if you look at the research is mostly false, well, so are lab testing mostly false. They're giving us these numbers, and then we have to match the numbers, whereas something like I've said, 100 times, in medical school, the norm for cholesterol was 250, and now they want you to be 180. And cholesterol is not even an indicator of heart disease anymore. So we've been bamboozled for so long that, you really have to take a second look on how much testing do I want to get, and what are doctors trying to achieve with testing? It's like they're trying to find something so they can give you a drug.
Excellent. Claudia asked about the total body reset, but we're going to go into that in the second hour, Claudia. I just want you to know that answer is coming. But let's get to our phone calls right now because we've got a lot of people holding. Area code 954, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. You're on the line with Dr. Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, please, 954. You're on the line. If you could just state your name and then ask your question or comment to Dr. Dean.
Hi, my name is Claudia. And first of all, I just want to say thank you. I just listened to on archive on Hay House Radio, the interview with Dr. Christian Northrup, and I immediately ordered your book. Thank you so much for all you do because it was really an eye-opener and, very helpful. And my question is, yeah, thank you. Thank you for everything. Like I said, I ordered your book right away, so I should get it by Wednesday, so I'm very excited about that. Right now, I'm taking the Biogenics Magnesium Lotion by Dr. Norm Seeley. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Oh, yeah. He's an acquaintance/friend. He's done a lot of good work on transdermal magnesium. Yes.
Yeah. So right now I'm using that lotion, and I also take magnesium citrate, I think it is. I don't know how to pronounce the
citrate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I still have a lot of issues with sleep. I recently had my knee surgery, and I was going over. I went to their website and I was looking at the total body reset. But what would you recommend? Or I understand that you're gonna go that on the second hour. I don't know. But what would you recommend besides what I'm doing, or I don't know if what I'm doing is okay, or what would you recommend?
Okay, Claudia. Yeah, it's a good question, and a lot of people when they study more about magnesium, they come across my book, and I've been writing about magnesium since the late 1990s. And I went through the transdermal magnesium, how important it was, because That used to be the only way we could get magnesium without the laxative effect. But what you'll read about in this new edition of Magnesium Miracle is that with Remag oral liquid and our Remag lotion, we've got 100% absorption of magnesium into the cells. It does not act like a laxative in the bowels, so that people can get enough magnesium, to take care of their sleep, to take care of all the issues, because with the other forms of lotions and powders and pills, you might get 4 to 20% absorption. So it's never going to be enough. And so that's what you'll find out, that you really want to have 100% absorption into the cells. And then the Total Body Reset, it's the combination of the Remag, but then the Remite is a multiple mineral, and that's really important for the other minerals. I mean, if we're low in magnesium, then it stands to reason we're low in the others. And the other 3 items are, we have a very gentle detox with the methylated B vitamins and the Realign. We have a great protein powder that has RNA drops powder in it, and it helps people when they're they're trying to lose weight or recover from athletics. So that's a new addition that we just, maybe it's 2 years old now. And the RNA drops, they're kind of our secret weapon that really helps people get back into their bliss and balance out their DNA, make their cell structure more perfected. So you'll learn about that when you read the free ebooks. They're all at drcarolyndeanlive.com. So you're on the right track reading the Magnesium Miracle book. And I was on a summit this morning where I say I really want people to study this information. I don't want to be a doctor who just pats you on the head and say, yes, Claudia, you need magnesium. You have to take my magnesium. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say, you read my Magnesium Miracle book, and you will be the one that decides, oh, okay, this sounds right. This is what I need. So then you've made the intellectual decision. Some people make an intuitive decision about what I talk about or, my products, and then you take them with that knowledge in mind, and you take them consistently. You don't waver. You don't say, well, they didn't work in a week, so I'm going to try something else. This is you helping to treat a probably decades-long deficiency, and it's going to take time. You cannot treat these minerals as if they were a drug and expect them to work overnight. So that's what I try to get across in my writing and in the radio show and any time I talk to people. Does that make sense, Claudia?
Yes, completely. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your answer. And, yeah, it definitely makes a lot of sense. I really appreciate it. Yeah, like I said, I'm looking forward to reading your book because it's got to be a super wonderful book. I mean, I follow Dr. Northrop to the T, so that's why I went ahead and ordered the book, and then I decided to listen to the program. And so then again, thank you. Thank you for all you do. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Claudia, and thank you for your call. I'm sure everybody, learned from your question, and that's why we really appreciate people calling into the show so we can, describe what we're doing here, what we're about. We're, as I said to this summit person after the summit, I said, it's no longer just about showing people, like Jesus said, his example is what he wanted to show. We're trying to raise people from the dead. We really have a job to do now because our society is so beaten down with stress and with the drugs and with just so much lost opportunity. We really want people to understand that they could be so much better.
Oh, yeah. We don't have a health care. We have a sick care.
Yeah, right. Okay, Claudia, off you go back to your wonderful life and keep in touch with us, okay?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Excellent call, Carolyn. Let's go on to area code 619, the great state of California. You're on the line with Dr. Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Yes, hi, my name is Holly, and I had open heart surgery last October, and they had found a large myxoma in my left atrium that was just about to kill me, the size of a lemon, and the doctor said I didn't even need my heart checked, which is, ironic.
Oh.
But I went with my intuition, and I said, can we just do a test? And they ended up finding a very large mass, luckily benign, and I didn't even get to go home that day. It was right to the hospital, and unfortunately I got double pneumonia and was in the hospital 5 weeks fighting for my life and had multiple complications, and I've been shocked now and had my heart reset over 12 times now with adenosine, where they flatline you and then bring you back, which is horrifying. And also with the crash cart. And I had to go to the ER 5 times in April. And then I read a little bit about magnesium on your website, and I just started taking a low a supplement that was a blend that they just had at the CVS store to start on some to see if it would help. And I have not had an SVT episode since I've been taking that magnesium, but I've still have to stay on the diltiazem, which makes me super tired and very much in a brain fog. I'm not myself at all. And when I've tried to take off of it, I get the palpitations again, and my heart will start racing, and I don't want to go back to ER and get shocked again. So I'm afraid, but I want off the prescription drugs and want to know if you think that I can take your products and get off of the diltiazem and maybe keep my heart stabilized.
Right. Well, it's incredible what you've gone through. I can't imagine, Holly. How old are you?
I'm only 46, so it's been really hard.
My gosh, yeah. It's incredible. But your heart stuck with you, and you knew something was going on, and you listened, and you got it taken care of. But then, this in hospital, it's so easy to get infections and all the rest of it. Okay, so now the Dilson, are they giving it to you, what, for blood pressure? I mean, it's for the heart rate.
It's more for the heart rate, to keep my heart in rhythm. I have 3 or 4 different types of tachycardias, and so they have 2 leads in my heart. I'm not attached to a pacemaker, but they're there in case I needed it. And I'm wondering if that's messing with the rhythm too, having those wires in there, and also a ring on my valve. I have a valve ring and some type of clamp that's supposed to help open and not allow clotting. I believe I forget the name of it.
Right.
But so I do have some things in there that also could be affecting it. But I was really hoping that maybe taking a stronger magnesium would help me feel like me again, and I could get off of this horrible drug.
Right. Okay, here's what I have to say. And as you probably know, the FDA won't let me act like I'm treating a disease or that magnesium can treat the disease. But let's look at the facts here. Diltiazem is a calcium channel blocker. And what magnesium does is naturally balances calcium. So they're trying to work with calcium by suppressing it rather than using magnesium to balance it. So that's number one. I would never tell you to stop taking diltiazem. What you would do is you could start our Remag because, yes, it's 100% absorbed. You've already proven with, a small dose of the magnesium from CVS that it's helpful, you said, for your SVT, which is supraventricular tachyarrhythmia. So you've proven to yourself that part of what's going on is likely magnesium deficiency, and you want to treat that. What you would do is do the Remag really slowly. Like personally, I would keep taking the CVS magnesium, but then just add like 10 drops of Remag. I'm saying drops, 10 drops. Each drop is 2.5 milligrams. That gives you 25 milligrams. That amount, 100% absorbed is going to be helpful, but it's not going to, stir things up. It's going to be gentle. So you would just gently increase by 5 or 10 drops, maybe even every few days. And as your energy comes back, as you're feeling better, then your doctors themselves may say, well, I don't think you need the diltiazem. So that's what you have to work with. But you have to work with your doctors and say, I'm feeling so much
Carolyn,
better. Maybe, yeah.
Yep, we're at the top of the hour. Holly, hang on, and we'll come right back. Holly, just stay right there. Okay, right back, everybody.
By visiting drcarolyndean.com. Psychic radio, holistic radio, spiritual radio. This is achieveradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/achieveradio.
You're talking about convergence, harmonics, application, creation through sightedness, through non-sightedness, rods and cones, and how it affects the thalamus and the thalamus. They're two different things, apparently, and how it affects the adrenals within the lipids, and how it changes the cells from a frequency to make it more metallic. That's the better way to say it. But yet you have iron poor blood, and that's why you have to take geritol, and you need lysine to make an amino acid. And the amino acid, then you need some protein, and you got to change it through your lipids, and then all of a sudden the fat that you got to get rid of is good, and then the sugar that you said was bad is good, and then the corn liquor's got sugar in it, and it's good, but they say it's bad, which is good. And the next thing you know, your liver starts eating sugar, and then it gets super sugar, and then it kind of changes, and then your whole gut changes, and then you grow back the damn gallbladder that they took out of Momo, and here she is laying in the stone cold grave growing a new gallbladder. It's pretty amazing as you kind of go. And then they'll start. And then on that resurrection morning, when all the dead in Christ shall rise, you'll have a new body. You'll have a new life. Souls all bursting, graves are shouting, ready to live in paradise. You'll have a new body. It's pretty good. And it's already started. It's happening.
Now, listen to that. Iron finally gave the chain reaction of ascension, the chemical chain process of ascension.
AchieveRadio.com. What a beautiful day to be alive. My debt is paid and more money arrives. The fridge is full and there's plenty of ice for a fireside chat with anyone I like. What a beautiful day, good to be here, when almost everyone has disappeared, when almost everyone is waiting in line. It's good to meet you in this world of mine.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Hour 2. Happy to have you back with us. We are talking with Dr. Carolyn Dean and also our live caller, Holly. Go ahead, please, everybody.
Yes, hi, I'm here.
Carolyn, are you there? Oh, wait a minute. There she went. All right, are you here, Carolyn?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, I lost myself. Yeah, Holly, I was in the middle of saying that, it's a good question you're asking. A lot of people wonder, well, what am I supposed to do? I'm on drugs. I don't want to be on them. Should I just stop them and start your stuff? Never do that. To start our formulas which are food-based pretty much. It's like we should be getting our minerals in food. We don't, so that's why we say Remag and Remite are like taking foods. So you take them, and as you're feeling better and better, and, your doctor should respond to that, especially if you say, well, I'm feeling better, but then when I take my medications, I feel a little worse. I think I'm getting side effects from medications. Do I need it? And then doctors, if they have any common sense, will help you wean off your meds. But the other important thing about what you went through is with all that pneumonia and all those antibiotics, that you very likely have yeast overgrowth. And so that's something that will cause you brain fog and fatigue, and also can cause yeast toxins, which also can cause heart palpitations. If you read my book, what is it, Jenny, about atrial fibrillation, remineralize your heart, I talk about the dozens and dozens of ways your heart can be triggered to have palpitations, and most of them are related to magnesium deficiency and yeast overgrowth. So you can read the atrial fibrillation book, you can read my book, Reset the Yeast Connection, and you'll see how it all kind of ties together. And it's not so overwhelming because, we just support the body with the minerals, treat the yeast, and over time you get better and better and better, and you're able to see that your body is very, very smart. We have a genius body that we keep hammering away at and giving it drugs and making it sick, but now you have a chance to give yourself the building blocks to make everything better. Does that make sense, Holly?
Yes, definitely. I was worried about all the antibiotics and all the horrible drugs they gave me, like just numerous things, amiodarone and all that.
And of course, you have to think about it in the way that you saved yourself because you demanded them to look at what was going on in your heart. You are alive. What they did for you and to you kept you alive, as well as gave you the side effects. They're just kind of stupid when it comes to all the side effects, and it's almost like doctors say, well, she's alive, what's she complaining about? But
right. I don't want to say that I'm not grateful. I am very grateful, yes. But I just want to feel like me again, and I know that my body's had a lot of damage done from, I was even in a coma, for 2 weeks. So I was on all kinds of stuff, and I'm just not myself anymore, and I'm just a little scared. I may have had brain damage, but I'm starting to think it's the diltiazem, and that maybe I just, because I've tried to taper off of it before, but I would start to get the palpitations again and have to go to ER. So I'm scared and only can get down to 120 milligrams, and I'm afraid to exercise too and get the heart rate up with SVT.
Well, I hear what you're saying. I'd rather you not say that you're afraid anymore. I'd rather you say that, maybe Carolyn has given me some reasons why I can't get off the diltiazem right now. Maybe it is magnesium. Maybe it is yeast overgrowth. I will deal with those two things, and I see that I'm going to get better. I want you to think that way now and read the books I talked about, so your intellect will sort of overcome the emotion that you've felt from, the horrors you've gone through. And, we also refer to a wonderful doctor who does total biology, who does the conflict basis of disease, where, we work with him, I was telling him today when I was referring someone, because he knows I was deaf, and I said, and he wondered what happened to my ears. And I said, oh, right. I said, I punctured my own eardrum that made me go to an ear doctor, where I asked do you think I can have surgery on this ear because I have calcification in my ear, which is a total magnesium deficiency symptom. And they did surgery on a 50-year-old deafness in my ear, and now I can hear in that ear. So he said, well, there's how the body works. You set yourself up with puncturing your eardrum. So you could, at 46, you found this myxoma, and you're better. But this is where, the horrible parts of medicine come in, where they don't know about alternatives to drugs, and they don't know about magnesium, and they gave you all the side effects because they're just dumb on those things. But now you're finding out those answers as well. And, unlike, millions of others, you are finding the answers. And for that, you should be very, very happy with your brain and your body to bring you to these answers.
Right. Yes, I am. So I don't think that, or do you think that I'll have any type of side effects? Like if it has a cleansing effect that might,
Well, that's why I say to start with the 10 drops, Holly. And when you read about the in atrial fibrillation, you'll read how people, they go slowly. And you just have to read and understand, maybe listen to the archives, type in to the archives to search for radio shows where we talk about the heart. Certainly, we have not talked about myxomas, and but you'll look for your symptoms, look up, type in for yeast connection, and understand that. But you can't. You've been through so much. It's like you're waiting for something else bad to happen, but. Use this phrase as much as you can. The worst is over. Really, the worst is over. And from now on, you're just building on your genius body to take better care of you. Okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
No, you're
right.
welcome.
It's so hard not to get emotional. But thank you.
No, that's good. That's a nice breakthrough for you, getting emotional in a more positive way. And, our Ginny's there, customer service is there, I'm here. You can always be in touch with us. But, we can't give you medical information, but we'll give you a ton of support and direct you to our literature and our radio shows. Okay?
Excellent. Thank
Carolyn.
you so much.
Yes, Holly, just 1 second. Carolyn, tell her the small property affirmation.
Oh, right. Oh, gosh, yeah. We can send you this. It's an affirmation in this total biology I mentioned, the conflict basis of disease. It's words that help people who've been through extreme stress. And it's perfectly suited to you. This is an affirmation. It's called a small property. I was a small property ravaged by a storm. The fine weather has returned. The forest and the river have become calm. The house is vibrant and shines in the sun. And above all, the field is returning to its order, health, and beauty. Thank you, my diseased and depleted organs, for I know you have done all this to save my whole being, and thanks to myself for doing my healing. So that's your affirmation.
Oh, that is beautiful. I love that. How can I get a copy of that? That is beautiful.
I'm going to put it in the chat line for you, Holly, but you can email me at support@RNA Reset, and I'll send it to you too, support@RNA Reset. But I just typed it into the chat line for you.
Oh, great. Thank you again so much. And I really, really am excited to get started. And I wanted to know about the yeast overgrowth. What time frame does that usually take for someone who's had as many antibiotics as they gave me?
Well, there's no time frame that we can really identify. You're young, so it's, I don't know. All I know is when, on the minerals and on the whole protocol and the yeast, what people start doing is feeling like, 10-20% better the first couple of weeks, and then 30-40% better, and it slowly builds. But the unfortunate part about people is that they don't even notice they're feeling better until they're like 50 or 60% better, unless they have an intellectual grasp of what's going on and can identify, oh yeah, that's, I'm getting a little improvement. You'll find in the yeast reset book, there's a big questionnaire there. And what I tell people to do is print that up and fill out the questionnaire. And every couple of weeks, fill it out again, and you'll see your numbers improving, so that you'll be able to say, oh yeah, my tongue is less coated and I'm less fatigued, and slowly you'll start to get better. But you have to be in charge of identifying how you're doing. I can't tell you how you're doing, and we give you all the tools so that you can follow how you're doing. Okay.
Okay. And do your products also work for psoriasis? My mother is covered head to toe, and she's been trying all at it really strong medications and very scary ones, and she's having liver failure now. And thinking must have a lot of yeast buildup.
Yeah. Well, the thing about psoriasis, I'm sure I have it in Reset the Yeast Connection, that one of the chemicals from the yeast toxins create psoriasis, so that a yeast protocol can help people with psoriasis symptoms.
That's what I thought. So, okay, good, because I had a feeling or something I had read related to that, and she didn't believe me, and the doctors didn't know what I was talking about when she'd asked them. And so
no, they wouldn't.
Right. So I'll let her know too, and see if I can get her on it too.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate this, and it's given me a new hope, and I really needed that. So thank you.
I know, hon. And thank you for calling. You provided, great information for other people to understand, maybe what's going on with them. So thank you for calling in.
No problem. Yes, I can't stress enough that we have to be our own advocates. And I had no symptoms with my heart. I had perfect blood pressure, nothing, no signs at all, and except I was fatigued and I started gaining weight. But other than that, I would have never known it was my heart. So I had them test the thyroid, test for diabetes. Everything came out fine. And that's when I just said, can I please just have my heart checked? And she said, no, you're too young. You don't need your heart checked. And then they did an ECG and it came EKG, and it came back slightly abnormal. And she said, oh, everyone's is like that. No one has a perfect one.
My God.
And you don't need anything further. And I said, well, my father had his heart reset not too long ago. And I said, what if it's something hereditary with my heart? And that's the only way she'd let me. And then that's when they finally found it. So stress for those tests. Yeah, you need to ask for those tests, because I wouldn't be here right now. They said it was just about to block my valve. So, or have it break off and go into my brain.
It's okay. The worst is over. You don't have to say those words again. You've said them for the last time. A lot of people have heard them. We get it that you had, I can't imagine, as I said, nobody can imagine what you went through, but the worst is over. Okay, Holly?
Thank you. I'll remember that now. Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Oh, what a sweetheart. And she has everybody rooting for her. Yeah, she's got all kinds of people rooting for her. So that's sweet. Okay, let's go to this anonymous call. Hello, I'm unmuting your phone. You're on the line with Dr. Dean. If you could state your name and then give us your question or comment.
Yes, this is Ada. Can you hear me well?
Well, hello. Yes.
Yes? Is it loud enough? Yeah,
yes.
Good. So I want to give you a rather long comment about how grateful I am for the formulas, because I had a very severe crisis. Because Wednesday night I fell 2 meters head first down the cellar stairs and hit the concrete floor. I landed on my jaw, my wrists, and my right shoulder, right on the concrete. And I didn't lose consciousness, and rather rapidly could sit up again, and just felt how the blood came in my mouth and all of that, you know. So I crawled up the stairs again, went to the bathroom. My 10-year-old bonus daughter, she stood in the shower and couldn't hear me first. And she gets very shocked when she opens the door and sees me, and she has to call 911 for the ambulance, because I can't speak. I have a wet towel over my mouth and the jaw. And in the ambulance, I mean, I could stand up. I could walk out to the ambulance, and I know that they are not in place. And I could feel that 7 teeth were out of position, that the jaw was strange, and my nose was a bit broken. And it was all swelling up so fast. But I had consciousness enough to gulp down some Remag water I had on the counter. I don't remember if I took any RNA drops, but, well, we went to the emergency and they checked everything, took x-rays of everything but my wrists, and no one looked at my teeth. I was rather upset with them when they let me go after 4 hours and telling me just to take painkillers and look up a dentist on the white pages. You can choose one. Shit! I was really angry. I did get home. My boyfriend picked me up, and he was rather more shocked than me because he could see it all and I couldn't. So I took a hot shower and took all the blood off and the tension in the back. Got out of the shower and slapped on very much Remag lotion on my face, on my neck, and everywhere on my body where the skin was not broken. I had an old bottle of Renew and tried to dabble a bit of that on my face, but it was very oily, and I've used it up now. It's still very oily. So the next day, I don't have headache anymore. I have taken painkillers, but I had only taken painkillers and Remag. It's rather extraordinary. So I drive myself to the dentist. I go there. The dentist is rather shocked, maybe more because I don't have the insurance. So he's afraid he's maybe not going to get paid the right amount. I don't know. Anyways, we pulled the teeth back into position, and they put some temporary cement to fixate the teeth. And I drink so much Remag water as I can because it's still, my mouth is very raw still. I put Renew on. I drink the Restructure at least once a day. On the Friday, I went to the osteopath. We had already a scheduled a meeting. She was shocked, but she was willing to adjust my spine, and she was very impressed with how the Remag lotion which is a lotion that I whipped up myself because I can't buy it. It's already out of sale. So it's coconut and another lotion and green light. And in 5 minutes, she could ease all the inflammation that was in my shoulders as I've been holding my shoulders up in the stress at the ER. And in 5 minutes, that just subsided. And now it's 5 days later. I've been back at work. I had someone, a builder, coming working at my house. I was out helping him. I was driving a big low front loader. I could do that. I mean, I'm working. People stare at me when I go to the shop, but I mean, none of this would have been possible if I hadn't already started with BMAG before. So I actually didn't break more than a little bit in my nose, and the teeth are a little broken, but they're still there. So. Wow. So now we just wait for them to regrow or reset back in the mouth. Right. Yeah. Right. So I mean, it's extraordinary. It is a very severe trauma, and I got out of it in 2 days.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, that is extraordinary. And Era, are you in Sweden? Is that?
Yes. I'm in Sweden. Yeah. Where we are told we have the world's best healthcare system, and I haven't had a bill from the ER nor the ambulance. I don't know if they will give me one. It's not going to be costly if they do. But my teeth, it's a horror story. It's an American horror story. Because if I don't buy a specific tooth insurance, it's not there.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Well, but back to the, what could have happened if Era wasn't on the formulas and the minerals beforehand, then, her pain, the injuries, they would have expressed themselves, 10, 20 times more. She would have been put on lots of medications, maybe been, put into surgery. You can see how when medicine starts to get a hold of you, then there is this downward decline. Like Holly was expressing earlier, and they found a benign tumor in her heart. And yes, they took it out. That was wonderful. But then she got pneumonia in the hospital. Then the complications. Then, her heart having so much fibrillation, they actually had to stop her heart and try to restart it with it's all those things that can happen to people if they don't have the, basic strong body with the building blocks. So I think it's an extraordinary statement of what we can accomplish if our bodies are strong and stable. It's wonderful.
Yes, and I was amazed that it was only my nose that broke in that fall, and it's not a big break in my nose. So I'm more interested in looking up what was my own intention at giving me such a fist blow. So what does modern medicine say about teeth or something like that?
Right. Well, that's where, Era, we go to the total biology. And
total.
Let's look up teeth. So teeth, was it the top jaw or the bottom jaw? Bottom jaw, right?
The bottom jaw is very bruised, but it's not broken. And it's 3 teeth, so 3 upper teeth that are broken and out of position. The others were somewhat out of position. So it's really that I had a steamroll smile. I had a very much a chiclette smile. What do you call it? A chewing gum smile. Something very photogenic. And it worries me now that maybe it's not there anymore.
Okay, well, teeth is the ability to bite.
Yes.
And then the biting is, grabbing onto prey. The top teeth grab and the bottom teeth lock to bring it home. So and this is in the animal kingdom. They start from there. So your ability to grab your prey has been compromised for the short term. And I don't know what that means in your life. And here's some more words. Not being able to bite, the right to bite. Is it easy to show your anger, to express your anger? Because that's sort of being able to bite and express anger means you defend yourself better, so you can't get beaten up. The brain triggers the teeth. We don't dare say things. We can't bear it. We can't bite the other, or they will beat me up, or I will lose their love. So with the teeth, I guess you look at them, in prey, in wolves and bears and whatever, they use their teeth to express their anger, superiority, defend themselves. So that's how total biology looks at teeth.
Yeah, and I've noticed the last year that I'm better at biting off, but apparently Ian thought I should look closer, was it?
Closer.
Look closer at it. I will look at this. And of course, the worst is over.
Yeah, it's a great statement for these types of emergencies. Here's some more words about teeth. I want to catch what I need to survive. Each tooth is related to a body part. People with teeth problems, there may be a relationship with the thyroid. Teeth is to catch what I want. If I don't have good teeth, I can't catch what I want. I'm not quick enough. So, it's always, in total biology, it's always about how you value yourself. It's like, do I value myself highly enough that I'm in charge of my body and my physical parts? So if our physical parts start getting damaged or affected, then it means we are devaluating ourselves. And again, that's why we're constantly saying, don't even, take the formulas to keep yourself healthy, to be prepared for these emergencies so that you can overcome them.
Yeah, it's been very clear to me that this could have ended very differently if I hadn't had the formulas handy. And my boyfriend and the little girl, they are out traveling, and I told them, you better bring these things. You don't know. And at some other call, I would like to get it on tape that there is a relationship for the 10-year-old. She's training a lot, doing a lot of sports, and they still don't understand that they need magnesium. And they have all kinds of funguses and things that are yeasts related, and they drink milk like little cows. So they take too much.
Yes, and what happens is we see the adults after they've been athletic in their youth. They're expressing their symptoms of magnesium and mineral deficiency and burnt out adrenals and all that could have been prevented. So it's a very important topic. But I'm going to let you go now, Era. I think that's fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yes. You're welcome. And I'm very happy that we know of each other and each other's products. It's very nice.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Now, Era's calling Ginny at 1:30 a.m. over in Sweden. She's calling in the middle of the night, so thank you very much for taking the time to do that.
Yeah, that's very sweet. She's quite a sweetheart. Yes, that's very good. And to just share her gratitude, because gratitude definitely goes a long way, too, in healing the body. Carolyn, let me just read a couple of these things that came in through the chat line in the inquicks. One of them is Michelle is asking, please explain 60,000 part per million versus other products that don't mention part per million.
Well, it's the concentration of the magnesium ions in the formula. The way our chemist measures them is done very scientifically. What I knew about parts per million was from the angstrom minerals, and I was taking angstrom magnesium at 3,000 parts per million, and it wasn't enough for me. I had to take ounces and ounces to help my symptoms, and that's where I found this chemist who I said, you must be able to concentrate this. So he put it up to 60,000 parts per million. Other liquids, I mean, I've seen people measuring their liquids, but some of them are measuring the magnesium and the chloride component, not the magnesium ions. So they're getting a number. It's not near ours, but they're getting a number that I don't know if it's accurate for magnesium ions, because my chemist is the only one that has stabilized magnesium ions. And I don't know how else to talk about it. We also put the formula in milligrams because that's what everybody knows, so that a teaspoon is 300 milligrams. I'd have to get a better explanation from our chemist about the 60,000 parts per million. I guess it's the solutes. There's a solute factor that's measured in, I think it's called dissolved solids, and it's used in water chemistry. I think in water treatment plants, they allow a certain amount of dissolved solids, or if you have a well, they'll have the dissolved solids of the minerals like calcium and magnesium in the water, and then they'll test for those individually. So it's a way of testing the solids or the ions, in our case, in water. So there you go. That's enough words.
Good. Excellent. Thank you. Also, this is from May in Toronto. It's a little cryptic, but basically she just says the killer cardiologist, AFib, as the drugs went in, the diagnosis escalated and the drugs escalated. My husband used to crash to the floor as the drugs stopped his heart or dropped his blood pressure. I dropped the drugs, and cardiologist assured me he could drop dead I dropped the drugs, and the cardiologist assured me my husband, could drop dead any second unless he had an ICD/pacemaker and many invasive procedures. Almost well, thanks to Remag. The doctors are speechless.
Yeah, May, MAIE, she's a former patient from Toronto. Her husband was not a patient of mine, but over the years he developed his AFib, and she's, cryptically describing how the drugs just made him worse, and she took the incentive to wean him off his drugs, use Remag. But I mean, she's a brave lady, and he's a trusting husband, and it totally worked out for them. We're not telling people to do that, but she's just expressing how greatly it helped her and her husband. Amazing. Thank you, May.
Very good. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, very good. Now, and lots of wonderful supportive words for Holly. So thank you, Super Dougie and Frank, everybody who's on here, and Brenda, and everybody's chiming in and just encouraging her, and that's wonderful too, to send all that great energy to people. And I know we've had people, we haven't heard from some of our regular callers for a while, because they call on a regular basis. They call every other week, and then they get better, and then they go off and live productive, wonderful lives. So it's really exciting, though, when people take advantage of Dr. Dean, because she is very compassionate and very knowledgeable, of course. And it's important to have that validation of what you really have gone through, as Carolyn did, and then was able to actually move her into a new space. So that's really exciting. Speaking of that, if you want to talk to Dr. Dean, 602-666-6027 is the phone number to call. That's 602-666-6027. And then if you are on the line or calling in and you want to talk to Dr. Dean, you've got to hit *5 on your keypad. *5 is going to raise your hand here in the studio. Let me know you have a question or comment, and then I'll put you on the air. Otherwise, your phone will just remain muted. So no callers right this second, Carolyn. What shall we do next?
Okay, lots more words. Here's a comment out of our last webinar. I forget, what was our last webinar? Ginny, do you remember?
The one we just did on Tuesday? Last Thursday?
Thursday,
Yeah, it was on something really good. It was on detox. It was on detox.
Oh, right. So someone's commenting on my expression of frustration on the state of modern medicine in my last webinar. And she says, thank you. I'm so excited to learn from these webinars while listening to the last radio show. Oh, it was a radio show too. I could totally relate to Dr. Dean's heart for the people who are trapped in fear from years of propaganda favoring allopathic medicine and discrediting real doctors. I'm one of the many who have tried the products and am experiencing better health than I thought would not be part of my future. When I hear of or see friends and family exhibiting magnesium deficiency symptoms, I don't say anything anymore unless they ask, because I feel like I'm banging my head against a wall instead of sending hope through an open door. The reaction is sometimes anger out of fear and frustration. Don't rock the boat. I'm doing fine today. Or deer in the headlights. Too much information. Or condescension toward what they think is nonsense. Their hope is in a quick fix. Darn it. I do get angry when people won't give healing some time. It is so frustrating and heartbreaking to see people you love place their faith in an industry that is destroying their health. Blind faith. So dark. On the brighter side, it was my doctor who recommended Remag to me 1.5 years ago. She's a keeper. Also, I just gifted a copy of the Magnesium Miracle to a friend I know who will absolutely love it. It is such a joy to have friends excited to learn from the wealth of information Dr. Dean makes available. Thank you for continuing to supply healing products and healing words. God bless you all. Isn't that sweet? So, that's, actually, I might have sent this to Ginny or somehow, but I said very sweet. We live and breathe for these people. This is, and, it's not that we're not, Ginny and I aren't bleeding hearts. We're not Mother Teresa. We're not weeping and crying for you. We are actively just giving you the information, sending out the products, knowing you'll get better. And, if you don't, this woman is saying, if you don't accept the information, if you're shut down, we're not going to beat our heads against a brick wall and, try to get you to take these things. Like medical doctors, they'll guilt you into taking the drugs. We provide the information and for whosoever will, and and that's working for you and for us. a testimonial here. I know we're not allowed to say magnesium does anything, but if someone is magnesium deficient, it can reverse symptoms that have been misdiagnosed. This person says, I was diagnosed with AFib January 2017, had a cardioversion the same month, and an ablation in March. My left atrium was moderately to severely enlarged at the time. I started taking Remag and Remite about 4 months ago. Just had a follow-up echo and ultrasound, which showed my heart function is now normal, and my left atrium has gone back to normal size. I am beyond thrilled. Yesterday, I was able to stop the blood thinner. Yay. A month or so ago, I added your magnesium lotion to my regimen and take a variety of supplements, including your Reline. Also, she's asking, what supplements should I be taking to move forward with optimum health? And my standard answer is I have a blog about that, which seems to work for most folks. It's called Dr. Dean's Supplement Recommendation, and it helps people wean off unnecessary supplements. So I said to her, it sounds like your other supplements didn't repair your heart, but it healed with Remag and Remite. So you may not need the other ones, but just work with all 5 completeness formulas and recalci if you don't get enough calcium in your diet. The next question, and after this I'll go back to Ginny and see what she's got for us. Now this question is about magnesium threonate. Someone wrote in and said that they saw this ad and wondered what my thoughts were on magnesium threonate. The claim is that it crosses the blood-brain barrier better than other magnesiums, better than magnesium chloride, ? I can't imagine anything that can beat Remag crossing any barrier. So I looked this up, and it's a type of magnesium threonate. But when you have to look at the labels, guys, you know, it turns out this has 4 magnesiums, one of which is magnesium threonate. But on the label, they make you think it's all magnesium threonate because it's got this rat study that so-called proves that it crosses the blood-brain barrier. And like I've said many times about this particular study done back in 2010, it showed a 7% improvement of crossing into the cerebrospinal fluid compared to a magnesium that it was tested against. So this is where, you know, a little bit of a study, they can spread it all over the internet, and it caused all kinds of people to grab onto it. Mercola has a magnesium threonate, and it's what? I think it's like 100, maybe 125 milligram capsule, which, you know, it's not all absorbed. I've, of course, have tried magnesium threonate. It gives me the laxative effect, which means it's not totally absorbed. So I worked out I'd have to take 20 capsules a day of this particular magnesium threonate to meet my magnesium requirements at the time. And that would give me the laxative effect. I would just laxative away my body. So it's, I don't know what to say. It's just, so much of the marketing done by supplement companies now, you will find that a lot of hospital administrators and pharmaceutical CEOs are jumping ship because, there's so much negativity about the medicine and pharmaceutical industry that they're coming over to the dietary supplement industry and they're bringing over the same tactics. They're putting fear in people. Oh, this is the only magnesium you can take. Magnesium oxide, 4% absorbed, has an effect on brain symptoms, magnesium deficiency brain symptoms. All magnesiums get across the blood-brain barrier. It's just that, when they say this is the only magnesium shown to do this, it's the only magnesium they studied to do that because they were studying their product, which is patented, which makes it extremely expensive. And that's why they dilute it with 3 other magnesiums so they can, it won't be incredibly expensive. As it is, it's very expensive. Okay, Jenny, let me go back to you before I just continue ranting and ranting.
Okay. I will say that Holly did type in some lovely words on the chat. She just said, I really did need the validation. I felt like I have been in a PTSD circle of fear from my experience. Magnesium have kept me out of the ER. And I'm so grateful for your show. I'm so happy that I was able to be on, and for all the positive energy from you and everyone on the chat blog, too. I can't wait to get started with your products, and I will call you back with my healthy healing results down the road. So she also wants to know how to hear the archives. And you just come back to the radio station, Holly, and the archives are right here. You'll see at achieveradio.com there's the archive section for Carolyn's show, and you'll be able to listen to it again. Okay, so there's that statement. Oh, Frank already posted the link for her. Frank is very efficient. Maybe I should get Frank to be my secretary. He's like all over it. Okay, so I think that catches us up, Carolyn.
Okay, great. Okay, another testimonial. Your magnesium product works exceptionally well by far over any other brand out there. I used to have one ankle swell up every day. I could never figure out why until I read that it was likely due to lack of magnesium. And for that, it had to be the right one. Well, I tried Remag, low amounts, and behold, it worked. The swelling went away, and it's been gone for 2 years now. I will never be without your product. As for the taste, it doesn't bother me. It's quickly taken, and the taste does not linger. I prefer this over the lotion. At any rate, Remag is the very best magnesium out there, so that was very sweet. Question about calcium, and this person says about calcium absorption. I just got confused because the website stated that Dr. Dean refers to calcium amounts, says that only a percentage of the calcium was actually utilized by the body. But say, for instance, if only 30% of the 600 milligrams were utilized by the body, then I was worried I'd need to increase my calcium foods to make sure my body utilized enough. So anyway, she's just wondering. I guess, what I answered her, this was a question that was asked a long time ago. You're right, absorption of calcium from foods can vary and maybe 30 to 60% at best. Calcium from foods high in oxalic acid are even less well absorbed. Calcium from supplements is even less well absorbed. There are articles and papers you can read that give the details. What I do know for sure is that recalcia is 100% absorbed. So if you don't eat dairy, then you might have to get most of your calcium from recalcia. And 1 teaspoon is 300 milligrams. I eat a lot of greens and occasional dairy, and I eat salmon with bones. So I take 1 teaspoon of recalcia a day because of that. So, when I say to people, well, with dairy products, you might be getting enough, this person is saying, well, what if that dairy is not 100% absorbed? I kind of proved it to myself about the absorption of my dairy because when I would eat a couple of cups of yogurt 2 or 3 days in a row, I would start getting heart palpitations back. This, it might have been about a year ago because I'm pretty saturated now. So I realized that the yogurt I was eating in mass quantities was giving me extra calcium and sort of neutralizing out my magnesium and giving me some magnesium deficiency symptoms. So that doesn't help other folks who are trying to figure out how much they should take. I mean, if you're really worried about calcium and you don't think you're getting much of it in your diet at all, then you can take the 2 teaspoons a day. It's not going to precipitate in your joints like calcium that's 4% absorbed, because this stuff is 100% absorbed at the cellular level. It is not going to precipitate in your joints.
That's remarkable. That's remarkable.
Bob, what are you doing? How'd you get on?
Frank was pining for Bob's voice, so I fixed the internet and we're back on.
Oh, you're so funny. Oh, that's great. So what do you think of the show so far?
Well, I liked you about 5 minutes ago. You were getting really intense and declarative, which Ion told you to do. They told you to start. Don't be a nice person anymore. Get out there and somehow get mad without getting yourself into trouble.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, there's the conundrum. But yeah, I think what we're doing now is we're saying we're not treating diseases, we're treating magnesium deficiency. And if doctors and drug companies are stupid enough to mistake magnesium deficiency for diseases, that's not my fault. You know, therein lies my defense. And someone wrote in, I'm writing mainly to give a little human encouragement so that you may continue doing what you're doing. You are a refreshing change from all that is so wrong in our world. Keep giving, and I pray you continue receiving. So there. Yeah, we have a lot of support, but, you know, I guess I do get frustrated when people say it's hopeless, I can't possibly be helped by your things. You know, they don't even read my information. They just say, you know, I've been sick for 40 years, and how is one little mineral going to help me? And do we hear much of that in customer service, Jenny?
Well, I mean, I know that everybody in customer service does their fair share of listening to people who are at their wits' end and certainly don't feel confident, and, you know, and rightfully so in some cases because, you know, they haven't had a lot of success. And what would be the reason why? I mean, if you have a magnesium deficiency and you're treating your magnesium deficiency with another supplement like vitamin B, what good does that do? I mean, so, you know, a lot of people, like people who have, you know, long-standing chronic, you know, deficiencies, they have been told a lot of strategies, and they haven't worked because they still haven't. You just have to put the gasoline in your car. It's just that simple, and that's all we're suggesting people do. So, you know, and then if you've got gasoline in your car, you're going to run out of gasoline at some point. I mean, you've got to keep refilling your engine. You don't just keep driving around without it. So, you know, the bottom line is you never do not need magnesium. So, you know, but I think customer service, you know, they do a great job of listening to everybody and trying to create as much value for people as they can. But yeah, there are people who stubbornly insist that, you know, this is not going to help them.
Yeah, and it's sad. I was talking about this, as I mentioned, on the summit I interviewed for today, and this person is a psychologist, and she was asking for the physical aspects that would support a person so that they could deal with their mental and emotional problems, and some of the problems are people don't think the worst is over. And they don't know that they've arrived at a solution. And when medicine, allopathic medicine and pharmaceuticals say that the solution lies in a drug, then some people translate that into, well, you know, the solution lies in a supplement, and if the Remag doesn't help them within a few days, then it's not working. So it's our whole focus on an external something or other, you know, making us better without us understanding, intellectually doing our own reading, and not just getting one more person to tell you what to do.
Hey, Carol.
Agree.
We arrived too late for one timeline, but there's a lot of other timelines, and some of you people seem to be on the other timeline where we didn't arrive too late.
Yeah.
How's that for metaphysics?
It's for whosoever will.
Yeah.
Ginny, you have your ending 2 minutes.
I want to hear, we missed Ginny's opening remarks, which Melody or somebody's supposed to be editing together. How did you open this week, Ginny?
I Yeah, I don't want to think, I do not, first of all, let's just clarify, I don't want Melody Rose to think that and think that she's got something else she's going to do. And she's not doing that. One of these days, I might get around to doing it, Bob. But
all right, so what did you say today? It's always original. So what?
Carolyn, my master, master orchid grower. By talking about her talent and her ability to grow orchids, which are very difficult to grow, and just how amazing she is. That not only has she all these incredible assets, but some people who are like Carolyn and they're doctors and they're compassionate and they're this and that, but they don't have any well-roundedness about them. I mean, Carolyn's truly an artist. She's got incredible style. She's got amazing abilities with all of life, and she's got a beautiful home. And I talked about the dress I saw her in yesterday. She sent me a picture tooling around in Hawaii, and she just looks amazing. And so that's what I said. So I always
it's just a sack. That dress is a sack, and she still looks great in it.
If that dress is a sack. Well, I wouldn't call it a sack.
It's the Jams, Jams original. Jams. You can look up Jams. It's a Hawaiian company, and it's a cotton dress, and it's. I think it's awesome. But there's Bob. He sees me dressed in a sack, and he still loves me. Oh no, love is the most. Love is a force.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I force field you. I still let you have my force field.
Yeah. Go ahead,
well,
Carolyn.
Thanks, Jenny. We're sorry we missed the introduction. We live for your introductions.
That's all right. That's silly. You guys have a wonderful evening. Thanks, everybody, and thanks to Holly and Frank and Frank and Frank and Frank. Frank is appointed my new secretary. Thank you, Frank. He's been great on the chat line tonight. He does all the administrative stuff. But thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, Susan. We love everybody, and Ira, even all the way in Sweden at 1:30 in the morning. Mwah. That's what they say. Mwah. Thank you, everybody.
Mwah.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Jenny. Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Bill. And thanks, listeners. We appreciate you.
Absolutely.
You've been listening to Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com. Till next time, so long, and thanks for all the fish. AchieveRadio.com. Psychic radio, holistic radio, spiritual radio.